going to jump around a little bit today on these papers, so you're going to have to pay close attention. Stay with me. Get your name on it. Okay, so it says to take out a unit. So the first one, and I want you to follow the same strategy I'm using. So I'm going to circle everything up to the place value mentioned, which is only just one place value this time. So then that's how many tens I have. And then the rest of it, I'm just going to shift all the way over to the thousandths place. This can be done. I can move my place values. I can slide them over and then just take out the ones, tenths, and hundredths, okay? This one says tenths. So everything up to the tenths place, I will consider tenths. Good. And then I just have 58 thousandths left. Okay? You'll use this sometimes when we're rounding. This is sort of like the chart we use to decompose decimals, the upside down staircase. Remember that? Okay? So now all the way to the hundredths place. 7,635 hundredths and 8 thousandths. Something new that you'll probably come across, maybe even already have seen it on Zern, I'm not sure. Okay, this one's just a review. On the first line, we're doing unit form. On the second line, standard form. So unit form, remember, is words and numbers. First thing I check for, boys and girls, am I adding apples plus apples here? Yes, I am. So now, standard form, to me this is much easier to think of than unit form. Unit form kind of makes my brain work a little bit harder. Okay, so can you continue on?
Yep.
And then check yours with mine after you finish. So the next one is 5 hundredths plus 4 hundredths. So you'll write it in unit form first. Is the abbreviation okay?
Yes.
Sure. Then you write it in standard form. Now double check this one before you move on. Make sure you did that one right, and then do the last one. Pizza, can I get you to close the door? Thank you. All right. Daniel, there's no yawning in school. There's no, and you can't have fun either. So don't even think about it. I'm teasing. Okay, looks to me like these are pretty simple. We're working in unit form again. Okay, so what's the only thing that's different, really? We're subtracting, okay? So maybe these simple ones are to get your brain thinking about subtraction. So let's just work through these quickly. 5 tenths minus 1 tenth?
4 tenths.
4 tenths. So just write it down. 5 hundredths minus 1 hundredth?
4 hundredths.
4 hundredths.
4 hundredths.
5 thousandths minus 1 thousandth?
4 thousandths.
Yeah. 7 hundredths minus 1 hundredth?
6 thousandths.
6 hundredths. I knew what you meant. And 9 tenths minus 1 tenth.
8 tenths.
So maybe just try not to add today. How's that sound?
That's good.
Okay, now I want to show you the strategy I use to do these next ones in my head. So don't work ahead of me this time. You're not working ahead of me, are you?
No.
Okay, so all, if it's written in standard form, I need to just say it to myself. So how do I say this number? 29 thousandths minus,
1,000.
so what's my answer? 28 thousandths. I just want you to say the number. Now watch my strategy on this. 1/10 less than 61 hundredths. So I'm going to draw an arrow to the tenths place. Why am I doing that? Why did I draw an arrow to the tenths place? Thomas? Which one, what is?
The sixes, which is the 10.
Okay, because I'm subtracting tenths. Okay, so 6 minus 1.
5.
And does the 1 in the hundredths place change? No. So 1,000th less, what will I draw my arrow to? The thousandths place. And 1 minus 1, so what's my answer?
67.
Or
6.
6 hundredths. Very good. Now what place value, Daniel, do I draw my arrow to in this problem?
To the 4.
To the 4. Which place value is that? Hundredths. And I'm going to subtract 1 from the 4. So 4 minus 1 is? 4 minus 1 is? And everything else stays the same.
You're just looking for something.
All right, so let's take a look at this problem. This is a review of what we did yesterday, and then we'll move on to the lesson for today. You're really going to like it, I think. The lesson, that is. Actually, we're going to skip straight from the lesson to the exit ticket. No problem set today.
Yay!
Okay, can I go ahead and read this?
Yeah.
At the 2012 London Olympics, Michael Phelps won the gold medal in the men's 100-meter butterfly. He swam the first 50 meters in 26.96 seconds. The second 50 meters took him 25.39 seconds. What is his total time? Okay, Anna, tell me.
You didn't press on pause.
Yeah, I did. Anna, tell me what I'm going to do on this problem. What does total tell me I'm going to do?
You're going to add.
Okay, so what about the 100 and the 50? Do I need to worry about those? No. I'm adding the times. So 26 and 96 hundredths plus, line up the decimals. Thank you for reminding me. 25 and 39 hundredths. Okay. Now, when you're talking about time, a lot of times they will show it to the hundredths place. Okay? So now if I'm adding, what old habit are you going to try your hardest to break?
The ones at the top.
Right, regrouping at the top. Because when we get to long division, you will thank me for that.
Wait, don't put it at the top. No.
Okay, did you get the same answer that I did? Because I was talking while I was doing that.
No, I got a 52. I got a 52. I got a 5.
Oh, thank you, boys and girls.
Welcome, Miss Williams.
Okay, so is that my answer?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Let's take a look at
Yes.
problem 1. We're only doing one of these.
Okay.
So I want to start with, I think we'll do the middle one here. Okay? So, remind me what it looks like to subtract with place value discs. When I take away, how do I show that on the place value chart with the discs, Morgan?
Draw an arrow to what?
Okay, you're getting ahead of me. That's regrouping, which we're going to get to in a minute. How do I just take it away? How do I subtract it? Sort of.
Decimal.
Just put a slash on it. Cross it off. Okay? So let's put 7 ones. And we're not going to put decimals yet. And 5 thousandths. And then I'm going to write that in standard form. So notice that I left you room beside it. Yes, that's right. Okay, so now, what am I subtracting? First of all, what do I need to do here?
Decimals.
Yes, line up my decimals. Now I'll look at what I'm subtracting. 2 ones and 3 thousandths. So what goes here? Okay, so in order to show that, watch, boys and girls, this will all come back to you. I just cross off 3 thousandths, and then I just cross off 2 ones. 5 minus 3 is?
2.
7 minus 2 is?
5.
Okay, that's a quick review of how to use the place value chart to subtract. The only thing new is decimals, okay? All right, you're really going to like the next part. We're going to get to the regrouping that Morgan was talking about. Okay, so the next one, let's do the last one. Okay, so are you with me?
Yes.
So 9 ones, which would be 5 and 4 on the dots, right? And 2 tenths. And then write that down and line up your decimals. Okay, and what am I subtracting? 6 ones and 4 tenths. Now I have a little bit of an issue here. Thomas, what is it?
It's you have too many in the tenth place to subtract, so you gotta.
So now we're going to regroup like Morgan said.
Yeah.
So this tenths place is too large. I can't subtract 4 from 2 unless I know negative numbers.
Yeah.
Okay? And so for right now, we're going to regroup. So on the place value chart, Morgan told us what that looks like. We cross one off in the ones place, draw an arrow, and we're going to trade in 1 1 for 10 tenths. So that's what it looks like on the place value chart. And you did this in 4th grade. You just didn't have the decimal. What does it look like on standard algorithm?
You cross off the 9 and you put an 8 on top.
Right.
And then you put 12 on top.
Now, there's more than one way to do this. I mean, you could write the 1 there beside the 2 or like that. This is how I choose to do it, and you'll see why in just a minute. It has to do with those 10s and those 9s. They get a little confusing. Okay, so if I'm going to subtract here, I'm going to cross off how many? 4, and there should be 8 left. And then I'm going to cross off how many? 6, and there should be 2 left. Okay? All right, now I want to show you something. I stumbled across this one time. So on that problem, I believe there's 1 decimal place value, right? This is the tenths place. And the first number was what?
2.
9.2?
Yeah.
Now this is what it looks like. Well, actually, this is what I visualize in my mind now, ever since I found this website.
That's cool.
And I'm subtracting 6.4.
Yeah.
Now, when you get on this, because you'll be able to get on this next week, probably, if you don't hit begin problem, it doesn't work. So make sure you hit begin problem. Now, our problem is we cannot subtract 4 from 2, so we have to regroup. Are you watching?
Oh, that's cool.
Is that what we wrote at the top?
Yeah.
And now I simply get to subtract.
That's cool.
And then subtract again.
That's like the coolest.
Is that the answer we got?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll show you how to get to this website later. All right? If I don't have time today, then I'll show you next week. Okay? right now, let's go to the next page and do another problem.
Be the same page?
Well, yeah, for me it's the next page. You just go down to the next box. Okay, we're actually going to do 2 problems. I want to do the last 2 problems, but the middle one I just want to use standard algorithm. So let's write standard algorithm up above the place value chart. Watch my strategy real quick. This is going to help you on your exit ticket. I notice my place values don't match. This one only goes to the hundredths. This goes to the thousands. So I'm writing the decimals down first before I write the second number. And then I write 1 and 29 hundredths and fill in with a 0. Now I can subtract. You've got this on your exit ticket. Watch me. There is no regrouping in this column. So I just write the 3. 3 minus 0. This column has regrouping. So this is what I told my 3rd graders. More on the floor, go next door. Nobody's home, go next door again. Well, you probably won't say that in 5th grade because you know what happens. Since there's nothing to regroup in the tens column, you have to move over to the ones. This becomes a 10.
Or 1, you mean.
And then, after I move 1 to this place value, it becomes a 9. And I'm going to show you on the other website what this looks like, okay? And then you'll have it in your mind forever. 18 minus 9, 9 minus 2, 3 minus 1. Okay, so let's take a look at it. Now, the only thing you have to help me with is, tell me what the problem is, Yosin. Tell me first of all, how many decimal place values? How many digits to the right of the decimal? 3. Okay, now tell me the problem, Yosin. Now these you're just going to have to visualize they're actually ones, okay? This is tens, hundreds, and thousands. He said 83 thousandths. Okay, and minus what?
1 and 290.
Or 29 hundredths? Okay. Now, don't forget to hit begin problem. Now, we really don't have any issues here, do we?
No.
3 minus 0 is just 3. But here we do have an issue. We've got more tenths or hundredths on the bottom. So there's nothing here in the next place value. So I have to go over. Watch me, and you're going to understand why there's a 9 and then a 10 and then a 9. So the first thing I have to do is move it 1 place value.
Whoa.
Right? Trade in a 1 and make it 10 tenths. Then, what do you think I do? Trade in 100 to make it, or a tenth to make it 10 hundredths. And that's why, at first, when I moved it over, I did have 10 there. But then I had to move it over again for the 18. So now I can subtract.
That got crazy when you put the 100 over the...
I know it. Well, and there's really no other way to... Modeling decimals is hard. So, okay, is that the answer we got?
Yes.
All right, let's do one more problem. We're going to do it on the place value chart. 6 ones. How do I write 6 ones?
6 dots.
Okay, we'll just write a 6 for now. Now, what am I subtracting?
48.
48 hundredths. So here's what I want you to do. You've got one on your exit ticket, similar. Go ahead and line up your decimals. Are you doing that?
Mm-hmm.
Then when you write 48 hundredths down, what will you fill in with at the top?
0.
This reminds me a little bit of those word problems that say, he paid with a $10 bill. only you would have 3 zeros on that. Do you remember those kind? You have to cross off a bunch of zeros. Okay, so what does this look like? I'm going to show you over here first. So how many decimal place values? 2? 2, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and it's 6 ones minus 48 hundredths. And then hit begin problem. Now, what am I actually doing? Eyes up here. I mean, you know you cross the zeros off. At first, 6 becomes 5 and you move it over and you've got 10 there instead of 0. But I still can't do anything with this, can I? So I have to move 1 from the tenths place to the hundredths. That's where we get the 9. Then you can subtract. I don't need sound effects. And so when I'm finished, my answer should be 5 and 52 hundredths. So let's take a look at that. In your mind, I want you to visualize it. So I move from my ones place, I move it over and get 10 in the tenths place. Then I still have to take 1 over to the hundredths place. So that's where the 9 comes in, okay? And then 2, 5. Is that what we got?
Yes.
Okay, how do you feel about this?
Good.
Pretty good. Okay, here in a minute I'm going to pass out the exit ticket. And I'm going to give you a little bit of advice before you start it. Since we forgot to do it on the place value chart, let's do that real quick. So what does that look like on the place value chart? Move 1, 1, and trade it in, and it becomes 10 tenths. Then move 1 tenth, and it becomes 10 hundredths. Then you can subtract. And you should get 5 and 52 hundredths. It's kind of hard to tell, but this is my arrow right here. Okay? Here. Is that easier to see that arrow now? Okay.